Hello everybody, I just really wanted to sit down and gush with you guys about Captain Tsubasa Rise of the New Champions. If you don't know who I am, my name's Young Falcon, thanks for coming out, and this isn't necessarily a review of the game as I haven't completely finished the story mode and things of that nature, but rather I guess you would say a first impressions. As you can tell, it's a little bit more off the cuff. I hope you guys don't mind that. I just really want to talk to you about Captain Tsubasa. This game is sick, and I feel like a lot of people need to hear about it. So for starters, this is one of the more unique anime games we've had in quite some time. If you don't know what Captain Tsubasa is, it's a soccer shonen anime franchise. I personally know pretty much nothing about it. This is my first time hearing about it aside from the odd My Anime listings and things like that when it was doing its 2018 run and seeing it kind of out in the wild. But I don't really know much about the history of it, let alone the characters or anything. So I kind of went here completely blind, kind of looking for a Mario Strikers replacement, mainly because, well, Mario Strikers hasn't been made since the Wii era. You know, it's been quite some time, and Mario sports games in general have just been going downhill, and this looked like the perfect replacement to that kind of gameplay. So does it live up to that? Most definitely. First I want to talk about the presentation. I think it's absolutely insane. The game starts off with this beautiful shot with Tsubasa kind of standing behind a roaring crowd, and you click through the menus and the music kicks in, and it's this very whimsical track that plays throughout. It's, really uplifting stuff, and it just feels like you're in a shonen soccer anime, and all the typical tropes are there. It just looks great. The characters themselves, they feel and look really awesome on the actual field. It doesn't ever feel like they do that FIFA thing where it's too far away, you can't really distinguish who you're playing as. You kind of got to rely on the triangles and stuff. In this game, the camera is pretty dynamic and sometimes to its detriment, but for the most part to its benefit. It gets up close and personal, really showing off the character models, showing off each individual piece of their jersey and stuff. You can really make out the fabric, which is, again, insane for an anime game. I really respect that, and I love how often it gets right up and close and personal with the characters' facial expressions and stuff. When you're doing a slide tackle and it gets right up in their face and you see the expressions and their eyes are like whited out, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just got knocked over from this slide tackle. Or you dash attack into them and you swipe the ball from them, or you execute the perfect dodge and it plays this tiny little cutscene, and the flow of gameplay never really gets interrupted too often. It feels very instantaneous, and even though these animations repeat pretty much all the time, every match, they feel like a super in a fighting game rather than just being in the game as a cinematic to distract you, right? It feels like a super in a fighting game where it's like, okay, you're gonna see this over and over, but it just never really gets old. And it's kind of the same when you do combo passes or special moves with your shooting, when you go for the goal and all that. It just feels awesome with the way they incorporate all these different animations, and sometimes even in the story mode triggering these cutscenes where if you play a certain way, you'll trigger, I guess, what they call a lore cutscene, and it's something straight from the show or straight from the manga, and they play it, depending on what you're doing in the game. I only triggered a couple of these because, I don't know the lore or whatever, but I've seen a lot of clips on YouTube and they seem endless, and it's insane the amount of effort they put into this, tiny soccer game. And these lore moments aren't just restricted to the story mode. If you have certain team spaces and set up, or you make like a lore team, you could do them in actual multiplayer matches, which is awesome. It really just goes to show how much love and care they put into the presentation of the game. There is a ton of stuff to unlock, from I guess a ultimate team of sorts where you unlock friendship cards and things like that, kind of similar to FIFA, right? And you get to give your player created character special moves, which is awesome, and it flows pretty well. You also have your own music you can choose throughout the game. As you play, you unlock the gorgeous soundtrack, which is it's beautiful music. It's great. It's pretty generic, bog standard, I guess you could say, but for a shonen anime, it's exactly what you're looking for, and it completely delivers on that aspect, so who cares? It's great to me, right? And it sounds really awesome, and they did a wonderful job with all the pieces. The soccer music when you're battling just gets you pumped. I love activating my V-zone every time. It just makes me feel excited. It's great stuff, dude. The presentation is off the charts, and the cel-shaded visuals and graphics and art style is insane. Now, unfortunately, there are a couple bugs on the PC version where sometimes animations will skip a couple frames or two, so the ball kind of teleports all around, and this happens in single player. Didn't even really encounter it in online multiplayer, funnily enough, where you think it would happen. But for the most part, they did smooth all of that out. It was really rough on the first couple, I guess, hours, honestly, of playing, and they fixed everything within like a couple hours after the fact, so no complaints there, except for that animation doubling thing. I think they're still getting the hang of that. I believe it's something with your refresh rate on your monitor and stuff like that, so I'm gonna let it slide for now, And of course, there's a couple issues they gotta iron out with the 4K and 2K stuff. on the PC version. But aside from that, everything is really great if you run a 1080p setup, and it's a really good online experience or an in-game experience regardless. So and the fact that they move so fast to fix these bugs, it gives me hope that this game is going to get a decent amount of support throughout the future, especially seeing how they move so fast to fix the PC version of all copies. That's pretty impressive knowing these anime games, so hats off to them. So with that all being said, the presentation is insane. It's just great. It does everything it needs to do to live up to not just being a sick anime / manga kind of art style. It makes the game just look and feel really cool. So you're probably wondering, does it play really cool? Does it feel nice to play? And the answer to that is, actually, yeah. It's this game where you have a lot of special moves to use in your inventory, and basically you have a lot of freedom. It's weird because anime games and freedom, they just don't go together. If you play like all those arena fighters and stuff, yeah, they got a couple combos, but it's kind of mashing the same buttons and stuff. You guys all know how it is. But in Captain Tsubasa, you do have a lot of freedom because it's a soccer game, and you get to build your own ultimate team, which is kind of the big crux of the game. After playing through the initial Captain Tsubasa storyline, you know, his middle school championship or whatever, playing through that is basically your tutorial, right? You just get used to the moves, go through the championship, win it, you get the gist. But when you get to the ultimate team section and you make your own player created character, that's when the game really opens up. You're allowed to build your own team by recruiting players in and borrowing special moves from different friends you're making and stuff like that, and learning and training underneath them to incorporate into your own player character, but also bring some of that into when you go to build your ultimate team. And the amount of stuff you can do here is insane. There's all the schools you can pull from, so no matter what school you're a fan of, you can pull, you know, players out of there, which ones you want to make, or make a lore team like I stated earlier, and they all have their own unique abilities. You know, there's these two twins where if you work together and combo pass to them and you use a shot, they will jump up off each other's legs and like headbutt the ball into the goal and stuff, which is like their hurricane special, I believe, or something like that. And it's really interesting that you could just do this stuff if you build the teams around it. And there's a lot of interesting like combos that only certain characters have, but it, you know, requires you building a decent team around it. So you could charge up your long pass and it can go for like this laser beam style, and then if you charge up your, you know, heavy kick, or I guess shooting kick, sorry for the fighting game term, you'll launch it into the goal and stuff like that, and it's all very flashy and anime. And sometimes the shots are just so powerful that the goalies can't even break through it. So unlike other games like FIFA where the goalie's like constantly grabbing the ball or whatever, to kind of mitigate some of those issues, it's more arcadey, so you have to chip away at his stamina. So if you're teaming up and you say you have all your shooters there, your forward players, and they're constantly kicking away, eventually his stamina will erode, and next time you kick the ball, it'll either slip out of his fingers or launch him so hard into the goal, or sometimes just slip right past him and he does a little anime expression like, "Oh, Nani, I can't believe that passed me." You know what I mean? And it's great stuff that you can combo all these moves, and building the right team around your type of playstyle, whether you play super aggressive like I kind of do. I have like a lot of strong kickers on my forward and middle lanes, and it's a lot of passing back and forth. I'm not really into the combo pass thing because I don't want to get my ball stolen because I play so aggressively. So it's a lot of having people that are great at dribbling and dodging the opponents, which is also really fun, and, you know, going for the big goal. And the thing about this game is there's a lot of interesting set play too that finally makes these games not just a slide fest like, again, FIFA, like that's my only comparison, I'm sorry, where you're just kind of mashing slide button and praying that you take the ball away if you're not, you know, if you're a casual player like me. But in Tsubasa, it's a little bit more technical. You're going to have to press your dash button or your dribble button at the right time to dodge out of an incoming opponent. If you press the right trigger, you get this free like step dodge where you actually get to surpass their tackles, and you like jump over them and kick the ball over you or something crazy, or sometimes just charge straight through them. And it has a lot of interesting little gimmicks like that that make the gameplay just a lot more intuitive and a lot more thought-provoking. You know, if you miss that dodge, that's a lot of time wasted. Someone could just swipe the ball from you, right? And stuff like that where it's like, dang, and not only do you miss the dodge, which causes you to lose stamina, if you get hit during that, you lose a bunch of stamina, which means the player's kind of out of commission for a bit, and you know, they can't really catch up or run as fast to recover. And it's those tiny little tactics you have to kind of bait out, like, you know, baiting people to use their dodge and then smash them out the way and take the ball and all that stuff. It's got a lot of really interesting mechanics that make the game just feel awesome to play. And, you know, a little bit of mind games too, which is always great for these kinds of games, you know. I really enjoyed the overall gameplay. There's a lot of variety from just holding X to shoot a ball. It's a lot of passing, through passing, kicking it from across the field, and then going for a goal and stuff like that. There's a lot of interesting mechanics to make it, really flow well. You also have the V-Zone skill, which is really nice, which lets you either charge everyone on your team up for a little bit and kind of give like higher stamina. Kicks could possibly be a one-shot and break through the goalie's defense out the gate, things like that. Or it can be used to prevent someone breaking through your goalie stamina by pressing the LT button at the right time, and they do a super block essentially. But it kind of causes them to be out of commission for a little bit, your goalie. So you got to make sure you're there to cover the goalie and grab the ball and take it all the way to the other side of the field, or else it's curtains, right? There's a lot of great, interesting gameplay mechanics. Like I said, it's a lot of rock, paper, scissors, a lot of baiting your opponent out to see what they're going to do and all that stuff. And it just flows and feels really good to play. And on top of that, it also helps that the online's pretty solid, at least on PC. I played about 3-4 matches, and it just works really well. And I got to build my own ultimate team, and it was awesome. And all the characters got to interact with each other. We did some combo moves. I scored like 5-0 on one guy, which was really hype. But there's a lot of good stuff here. And if you're a Mario Strikers fan and you love that high-octane, ridiculous level of gameplay with a lot of, interesting strategy into kicking the ball rather than just holding down the button and seeing a supercharge move or whatever, you are going to love this game. And if you're a Strikers fan, you gotta pick this up. I wouldn't necessarily say on the Switch. I heard the Switch version is absolutely abysmal, unfortunately. But if you do like these kinds of Strikers, kind of games, those more arcadey soccer games, this is the one. I really want to talk about Tsubasa mainly because it is a arcadey soccer game or arcadey sports game in the year 2020. And on top of that, it's an anime IP. But it's not like generic for once. It's hype. It's really cool with you could tell there's thought into the gameplay. They could have just cheaped out and made just another, hold right trigger, consume stamina, run across the field, then you hold kick, and just a FIFA clone essentially. But no, they went out of their way to make it still like faithful to the anime, I guess. I don't know, but I'm assuming. And the manga, and they have all these throwbacks, and there's combo moves, and there's lore events that happen throughout the story that you can trigger by playing, the lore way. It's insane the amount of love and care they put into the game, and I think it just needs to be, commended. It has to be clapped up. I think this is awesome. I want to see more anime games, like this. I want to see Haikyuu next. I want to see Free. I want to see stuff like this where it's more entertaining and unique rather than just, another arena fighter, right? We gotta gas these games up. And on top of that, we got a really sick arcade game in 2020 that is just something unique and different for once. It's not just another, realistic sports title, and it feels great to play both online and offline, and it has a lot of myriad of modes for you playing with your friends offline and stuff like that. It's got like 4-player local play, and you can even, I believe, take up one of your friends online with you to play the game, which is awesome. So overall, I highly recommend Captain Tsubasa. I just really wanted to talk about how great this game was, because I mean, people are talking about it, but like I wouldn't throw my hat into the ring. It's just awesome, and if you're a fan of the Strikers games, you're gonna love this one immensely. It's definitely one of the few anime games I can say is worth the $60. There's a lot of content here. You have an entire ultimate team to build. You have an entire story mode to play through, a prologue story to kind of get you into the Tsubasa storyline. You have all these interesting characters to pull from, and friendship cards, and building your own custom character and all that. Like, there's content for once. There's actual content here, and it's worth it. And then of course there's going to be a character pass down the line, which I guess we'll add a couple more characters. I don't really know the storyline, so I didn't really get the character pass, but they worked hard on this. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening to me kind of ramble about Captain Tsubasa. I'm just super excited to talk about it. I really wanted to get my thoughts out there. This game is absolutely insane, and of course I highly recommend you guys check it out. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day. I will see you guys on the next video. Don't know what it's gonna be yet. Maybe it's Yakuza, maybe I'm gonna do Ratchet and Clank. I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird spot right now. I'm trying to figure out what to play. It's been a crazy year. But yeah, hopefully we'll see soon. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my content. Have a wonderful day. Peace. Wonderful day.